All right, so Chris Haynes on Twitter just an hour ago, right? Like breaking news an hour ago, announced that Quinndary Weatherspoon is not going to be extended by the San Antonio Spurs, and he'll become an unrestricted free agent. What does that mean for the Spurs? And what does that mean for Quinndary Weatherspoon? You guys let me know first off how you feel about this in the chat room. First off, I just want to talk about Quinndary. Shout out to Quinndary. I said in the last episode with Noah that I'm a big believer in Quinndary, and I think Quinndary has a lot of game. Is it going to transfer over to the NBA level? I think so. You know, I've seen him play in Austin. He had some spectacular nights in Austin, scoring 30 plus points a game, like multiple games. And he's just been a guy that's been working his tail off. The sample size that I've seen from Quinndary, I liked, and I really wanted to see him in a Spurs uniform. Really got to happen in the limited minutes that he got this season. Never really showed anything, never really proved anything. You know, it was very much like he was still getting his feet under him, and his basketball legs, if you will, and he just never really had the opportunity. Now, I think because of last year's draft, the writing was on the wall. We drafted Devin Vassell, we drafted Trey Jones, and Trey Jones is proven to be a special player and a special person. I think is another thing, is that Trey Jones is a winner. He's a competitor, and I'm not saying Quinndary isn't. Quinndary is a hell of a competitor, but you know, there's just some quality traits in Trey Jones that I think make Quinndary a little bit expendable in the long-term process. Because if you're looking for if Quinndary was planning to be a backup point guard, well, Trey Jones kind of solves that equation for you. Trey Jones is very tough already on defense and has a lot of potential, and where Quinndary probably has him on the offensive end with moves, because Quinndary does have an arsenal of offensive weapons. He wasn't able to really put it together on the defensive end. I don't think to really see the floor, and I think Trey Jones is already kind of doing that. All right, so if he was also in the Spurs' plan to be off ball, right? Because I think Quinndary is one of those players. He's like a combo guard. He can play on ball, he can be your point guard, and he can be off ball. I think he can do both. In Austin, he played a lot of off the ball, and he was a great scorer. You know what I mean? So, but I think when you look at last year's draft, Devin Vassell really just takes Quinndary. Devin Vassell and Trey Jones together take all the possible minutes, I think, away from Quinndary in the future. Even though the Spurs are a team that like to have a plethora of guards on the roster, and then we need the depth. I think we understand that sometimes we have 3 or 4 point guards on the roster some seasons, and that's because of the depth. You know, you kind of need them when they go down here and there throughout the season. You need to back up, like Corey Joseph and some of these guys, right? So there's a place for him in this league, but it's gonna, you know, he came in out of college, an experienced older dude, and he plays like that. He has a very smart head on him. I just think he needs more run, and unfortunately that just was not going to come in San Antonio. So he wasn't suited out every night this past season for the Spurs, but he was most nights, but he just never really got any minutes. And Trey Jones, and we looked at the contracts. Look at the video that we did a few episodes ago last week on the salary cap and all that stuff. Quinndary, we didn't really commit heavily to Quinndary financially and with the contract. Quinndary was like on a 1 year, like a non-guaranteed deal, is like his rookie season, and then his sophomore season we signed him to a 2-way contract. I mean, that's not a lot of commitment. When you look at what we did with Trey Jones, we drafted Trey Jones in the second round and offered him like a 3-year deal, right? So we have plans for Trey Jones. Like the Spurs are very happy with Trey Jones. So I hope that Quinndary lands somewhere positive where he's gonna get some run. I hope it's not Sacramento, right? Like, and then him and Chimezi just come back to haunt the Spurs for the rest of their lives. I hope that's not in the future. But Quinndary is a good player, so I wish all the best for Quinndary. Nothing but love.